Humanity is the focus, says the side affirmative. Yet, Europa, Mars, are places that we would have absolutely no information about if it wasn't for robotic mission. And that is something that we have to realize when we're talking about the issues here today. So I'm going to react firstly to the issue of costs and reach. What we have to see here is obviously that Apollo missions were way more costly than the alternatives that we would have with robotic missions. We can see that they're 160 times they cost more. They also have limited reach. We have still not gone into Mars. We have ventured as far as Europa, and we have in fact been able to get much information about it with the use of robotic probes. And that is something that where humans, again, will forever lag, because they will not be able to venture as far because of the complicated systems that we have to get on board, because of the increased cost, and because of the complicated technologies that we need to develop in order to venture as far as even Mars, because that is not even as of now feasible. So what we see here is that all of these places are generally something where we would never be able to venture. What we have been hearing from the side affirmative is that ultimately this will be made up for it by better samples. And there are several reasons why they propounded this. But the fact that robotic missions as of now do not return doesn't mean that they don't have to. It simply means that NASA and managers have decided that it's simply way more cost effective not to return the robotic missions. They are physically able to return. It's just that 80% of the cost of human missions is in fact on the return. The cost could be cut by 80%. So what we're seeing here is that there's tremendous increase in cost, but once NASA believes that it is the point to switch from not returning robotic missions to return, we can absolutely have those samples. We can absolutely have that efficiency. The fact that we do not see this as needed right now doesn't mean that in the long run this cannot be done. So what we see is that the robotic missions can provide theoretically equally good data, and they can go much further than the human missions would ever be able to, and secondly, they would be able to do this at much lower cost. Now, this has been questioned, that in fact we cannot decrease the cost much more, but we question that analysis. We have heard for several times, for instance, that the integrated electronics have been accused of not being able to cut costs anymore, but yet year after year, they manage to double the processing speed of their components while slashing the cost by half. So what we can see is that, well, right now we may not begin to imagine the ways in which we are able to reduce the cost, improve the efficiency of human missions, but yet, as for instance, the Brown University research has said, we still have the capability of going beyond and increasing the efficiency of robotic missions. So that is for the knowledge that we can get. Now, the other issue that we have heard was the issue of going to space, of getting energy and area resources from asteroids, etc. First of all, we see that with humans, this would be disproportionately more costly. We do not see why humans even need to be there. This was never substantiated because we believe that robots can do this manual, repeated task equally well, at least. Not to mention the fact that they're cheaper and that they're more effective because the sturdy industrial robots are all that you really require. Humans are not going to be there with an axe or something trying to get the iron ore from an asteroid. That is simply not feasible. You will still require all those robots to be there, and we do not see what the unnecessary component of humans should be there. As for more living space by being created in asteroids, we believe that is overblown sci-fi, and we do not see any reason why we should not seek more living space here on Earth. You can have Alaska, and if that's not, and Siberia, if that's not sufficient, you can go underwater. So we believe that there's much to be found here on Earth. We do not need to go into space. Now, as for the impact on future and the public interest, first of all, we see that we, as the iPhone generation, as some call it, are very much in connection with electronics, and we can get equally excited about electronics. And what the affirmative always forgets to mention is the hundreds of missions that have been crewed and have absolutely no interest by the Earth population. What we have to realize here is that In fact, robots are so exciting because they can go to places human can't. They're breaking the barrier. They're going somewhere where we have never been before. They're going might be going in under the ice of Europa in a couple of years. They're doing all of this just so we can get excited and get that investment. So for all these reasons, I urge you to vote negative. Thank you.